everybody. I am Hoardergamer, and I am back. I was sick last week, so there was no episode. I did do a series of tweets, though, about Avengers 1, and in case you missed those tweets, it was very good. It was an excellent jumping on point. Like, man, one of the best jumping on points for the Avengers I've seen in years, and I highly recommend trying to get issue 1 or the reprint of that issue. I don't know exactly how easy it'll be to get because it was really good and had a great team behind it. But yes, this is Hoarder's Comic Flex, and I'm happy to be here because, like I said, last week I was sick. Situation was like nothing truly like dire, but I couldn't be on camera, nor could I possibly even really do audio, because I was coughing and sneezing all the time. So it was, visually it wasn't great. Audio wise, it wasn't great. So it has. How you doing, Misfit Thor? But yeah, I am back, and we're going to start with a comic book review. Nightclub number 5. Now, Mark Millar, okay? Awesome comic book creator, pushes the envelope, sometimes sets it on fire, tears it open, you know, puts bullet holes in that envelope. But what was really eye-catching to me about this was vampire luchadors. They had me at that, and then they had me at the fact that it's an Image comic at $1.99. And again, I thought it was a gimmick. I thought it was the first issue's $1.99. Every other issue is going to be like $3.99, like a regular comic book. No, they have kept the price $1.99 for all 5 issues. And I think it's going to do the same thing for the 6th issue, which is double the size. Oh, okay, I'm not upset about this at all. So it's double the size, the finale issue. That'll be $3.99. So like $1.99 twice. So I don't blame them there, because at that point, for a double-sized book, they're losing money. But yeah, we actually found out what's been going on. And the police detective that turned the main character and his 2 friends into vampires basically was turned by terrifying vampires, including one that's 160 years old that was around during the Civil War. And it's a terrifying gang, and basically this detective has tried to take this vampire gang on, the same ones that turned him, and he realized he needed a team. So it's kind of like he's forming his vampire Avengers to take them on, and right as he's about to like give them the plan as to what to do, his head comes off. The evil vampires are there. And they threaten the young teenagers that are vampires now that we're going to be his Avengers with death unless they kill their families as an initiation. And each member of this vampire cabal is frightening, as Mark Millar would give you. It's a really good book. It's pricey, but it's so good. Oh, what book, Thor? What book? Yeah, but Nightclub is really good. I've read the other issues. There's 6 issues total, at least in this first arc. And yeah, the next issue is double-sized, and it's supposed to end this, either the arc or the entirety of the story. And if the idea of luchador vampires interests you at all, I highly recommend it. I wonder if the trade is only going to be like $9.99 then. I wonder if the trade is going to be inexpensive, just like the issues were. That'd be pretty cool. But yeah, I recommend it. I've talked about Nightclub before. I want to say this is the 3rd issue I've reviewed. Obviously, I don't review every issue of a comic, but I think this is the 3rd. This might only be the 2nd, actually. But I know for sure we've reviewed issue 1. So, but yeah, Nightclub is really good, especially if you're a vampire fan. Oh, I'm not a fan of Eric July. I don't agree with his politics. I don't agree with where his funding comes from. I'm not a fan of the Blaze, so no. But thank you. Okay, so Nightclub issue 1 is done as a review. And now we're going to talk about video games, everybody. Video games. Including one that comes out like in 1 week, featuring this lady right here, Lilith. Lilith, the Blessed Mother of Sanctuary. And I think if I'm going to talk nice about her, I don't have to worry about her, like, attacking me. Or, like, you know, trying to brainwash me and have me do terrible things. So, let's be nice. Nice to Lilith, and maybe she'll be really cool next week. Maybe she won't be murderous and scary. Now, the interesting thing for me about Diablo 4, everybody, is that it's a tragedy, apparently. Apparently, the game is a tragedy. And I don't think anyone is good or evil. There's a whole thing going on, too, at your character called the Wanderer, which ties into Diablo 2, and I don't want to give the details in case you don't know what that means. I don't want to ruin anything for anybody. But that could have some huge ramifications as to what's going on in the story and the gameplay. The fact that you're called the Wanderer. Also, both Lilith and Inarius, so Demon and Angel, Lilith Demon, Inarius Angel, they just seem to want to fight one another. And all mortals in Sanctuary, they're basically in the middle of this war. So, like, they're like soldiers, they're cannon fodder. I don't think that either Lilith or Inarius are going to be good. So I think that's going to be really interesting. Because in Diablo 3, you had Tyrael, who let's see, I don't want to give all the details here. Tyrael actually is an angel, and he, you know, he's good. There's no point in the story where Tyrael says or does something, and you're thinking to yourself, is this a good guy or is this a bad guy? Inarius doesn't come off that way. Inarius comes off quite a bit differently than Tyrael. And again, the vibe to me is like neither Inarius or Lilith are the good guys in this story arc. And when they say it's going to be a tragedy, I believe it. And I'm very interested to see how that works, especially with the story expansions that they have planned. I'm excited. You know, I'm really excited about it. And they announced it in 2019, everybody. I believe it was February of 2019. I'd have to double check that. I apologize. It might have been November. It was at a BlizzCon. Where it was formally announced and they had like some gameplay to show and everything. And now it's finally coming out June 6th of 2023. Early access is next Wednesday. So a week and a day away is early access. That's if you go with the deluxe or ultimate versions of the game. But yeah, very much looking forward to that. Oh, and other gaming news. Sony had a little event today. Did anyone see the Sony State of Play or press conference? I don't know exactly what they called this one. It might have been a State of Play. But it was some very cool things being shown. And we're going to build up to the coolest thing. Okay, so one game kind of blew me away visually, but it's also triggered something in my head that's like, is this too good to be true? And next time I see like Ubisoft or Xbox or anyone having an event like this showing games and stuff, I'm going to keep that in the back of my mind and have this might be too good to be true game of the event. And it would be Phantom Blade Zero. Phantom Blade Zero looks like one of the most amazing action games I have ever seen. I was questioning what was pre-rendered. I was questioning what was real-time events or actual gameplay. I don't know, man. And I had that vibe for a game that was Xbox exclusive, where like you're fighting like Shogun and you have a sword and there's futuristic crazy stuff going on, and that almost amounted to nothing. Like, people were blown away by that trailer. Not amounted to almost nothing. It would have terrible lip syncing for the cinemas. Apparently it was like low budget. I forget what it was called. I do apologize. But, I have to think about that. Is this Phantom Blade Zero actually going to look anywhere near as good as it did for the Sony event? Because it looks amazing. I highly recommend checking it out. Dragon's Dogma 2. I was happy to see that, but it very much looks like a game that was in development for PlayStation 4. And I'm not trying to be negative, but two of the games they showed, that Worlds of Avium or whatever it's called, don't worry if I get the title wrong. Just about everyone else does too. Including like actual websites that, are professional. I have seen so many misspellings of that game's name. It is hilarious. Anyway, it looks good. The game looks good. And so does Dragon's Dogma. But they very much look like games that were in development for PlayStation 4. And there's just a certain, it's hard to say, lack of fidelity. I don't know what you want to say. But like, compared to the game we're going to talk about next, it is amazing, but it's actually not called that. Marvel's Spider-Man 2. Wow. So, first off, one of my predictions came true, which was really cool, in that it would actually have Kraven in the gameplay / trailer, and like we'd actually see him and stuff. And we did. We got Kraven. But we got more than Kraven, everybody. We got Kurt Connors. We got Kurt Connors mentioned, and we actually have the Lizard. Plus, Peter makes his appearance, all symbioted out? How do I want to say that? All suited up as a symbiote. I don't know. But yeah, and looking badass and scary. An animation that looked better than Spider-Man from 2018 and Spider-Man Miles Morales in 2020. It looks so good. Plus, Peter shows up in Queens. So you're not even like in Manhattan or anything for the first gameplay. And it's like Kraven's hunters, like his team of hunters, which very much, to me, remind me of like the Dreadnoughts in G.I. Joe. That's like Zartan's gang. Like Zartan and his sister Zarana. It reminds me a lot of that. And it's Spider-Man just kicking ass. But man, things get a little more violent, a little more intense. This awesome animation of like the Venom type of tendrils that he's using, it looks so good. And then all of a sudden, Spider-Man realizes something is happening across town, but he can't get there. So the player is able to switch to Miles Morales Spider-Man. Very cool. Very cool. Numerous moments in the trailer as well as the gameplay footage made me think, okay, I don't know if PS4 could have run this game. Right now we know it's PS5 exclusive for the new Spider-Man game. And it's still supposed to be coming out fall of 2023. It's like 12 minutes of footage. I think it's like 10 minutes of actual like gameplay and 2 minutes or so of a trailer involving Kraven. Kraven's actually technically involved in the gameplay too, but it really focuses a lot on the combat and how visceral it is. Like, it looks so good. Like, Uncharted 4 comes to mind, but even better looking than that. Especially like the animations and everything. And that game looks great, you know? Last of Us 2 comes to mind with those animations and that level of detail, but looks better than that even. And I love the concept where it could be that you have to switch back and forth between Peter and Miles. That's a really neat idea. And Najee Jeter was actually at, I believe, a Sacramento comic book convention last weekend, I think it was, and was commenting. It's crazy, though, if you look up this video from the convention. It's one person asking like 3 crazy-ass questions. And it was like, I'm thinking to myself, is anyone else going to be able to ask a question of Najee? But he talks about co-op. And that kind of blew up the internet because people thought it meant that, you know, you and a friend could like play Peter and Miles and go and like fight crime in like Manhattan and other boroughs of New York. Well, it's not exactly that. I would not say that Najee is incorrect by saying it's co-op, because if you can actually switch, let's say 85 or 90% of the time, due to cinemas and story, I can understand you couldn't constantly. But through most of the game, if you can switch between Peter and Miles, I would consider that co-op. If you're playing as Peter or Miles, and it's a challenging battle, and you can press a button to call the other Spider-Man to help you, I would consider that co-op. To me, that's very similar to like the Arkham games. So I understand where people could be upset, but I would not say that he was telling a falsehood by using the term co-op. I would not say that at all. And yeah, the symbiote looks badass. And Miles' friend, I believe, I want to say Genki, he's got a drone he uses, and he's communicating with Miles. And both Miles and Genki are freaked out over the way Peter's acting. There's one point where Peter's like, I'm going to go after Connors. And Miles is like, man, I don't know about that, man. He's got big teeth. Peter goes, so do I. And looks intense. And then leaves. And both, like I said, both Genki and Miles are taken back. They're a little freaked out. And Miles said, Peter never acts like that. So they're really going to do some cool stuff with the symbiote, like with Venom, and all of that. I'm very much looking forward to it. I think anyone that's looking forward to that game was very impressed with what they saw. I don't see how you could be disappointed by it. I'll be watching it again after tonight, actually. But yeah, it was really good. It was really good. So having Craven feature heavily in like the reveal they had for today was my first, not premonition. I would say my first, I guess first guess as to what would be there at the game event today. The second one was Alan Wake 2. That was a little bit more of a questionable one because I wasn't sure if Alan Wake 2 would be at the Xbox event or a Sony event. Turned out to be at the Sony event. And it looks awesome. And it comes out in October. I can't even believe we're getting a sequel to that game, everybody. A creepy game that brings to mind David Lynch in The Twilight Zone. In this idyllic town with terror in every shadow, we'll say. If you haven't played it, I don't want to ruin it for you. But yeah, it's really great, and it feels like it's almost like a Stephen King story at times too, because it's about a writer. And Yeah, like I said, I can't believe we're getting a sequel. When they announced it like 2 or 3 years ago, I was shocked. Because I always wanted a sequel to it, but I didn't know if we'd ever get one. You know? And then we got, oh my God. They did another game. Remedy did another real popular game that was like in this haunted office building. I do apologize. I can't recall the name. But like that was super popular. And apparently it's not only getting a sequel, it might be getting like some co-op spin-off or something like that. So that was Control. It was called Control. And that also had moments of Twilight Zone, David Lynchian stuff going on. And I believe Sam Lake is the name of the main guy at Remedy. And he's a big David Lynch fan. So that's really cool. I believe he's a fan of Lynch and Cronenberg. Probably Stephen King. I almost said Spielberg. Very possible Spielberg, but I mean, you don't necessarily see Spielberg in the games themselves. Okay, everybody. Let's see. I kind of thought we'd see a new Ratchet and Clank, but no, there was no new Ratchet and Clank. Mike, did you end up seeing the Spider-Man stuff today? Marvel's Spider-Man 2 at the Sony event. Oh, there's also another great trailer for Final Fantasy 16, which is exclusive, I believe, to PS5. That could be so good. Like, RPG fans, we are having a feast if Final Fantasy 16 also turns out to be great. Because we got Diablo 4 in June, and then like 2 weeks later, roughly, we have Final Fantasy 16. So, yes. I thought it looked great, Mike. What did you think? I was happy about Kraven. I was happy about the lizard. The stuff where things are kind of frightening with Peter. The way they portrayed the outfit. I like just about everything. The fact that you can switch between Peter and Miles like it's Grand Theft Auto 5. Like, now I know Grand Theft Auto 5 came out like in 2013, everybody, but like that was like insane at the time that you would just sort of switch over to people. And this looked much, much quicker. This looked damn near seamless. And in 2013, that wasn't a possibility. Oh, I think it's going to be really good. I honestly think that Spider-Man 2 is going to be one of the games of the year. I honestly can't see them screwing it up. Man, and my mind just raced watching that. I'm like, do we actually have repeatable water combat now? Are you actually able to go out? I don't know on the Hudson or whatever, but get out on the waters now? Is that... Can we go to Queens whenever we want? Again, everybody, if you didn't see it, the opening of the gameplay footage, not the trailer itself, but the gameplay footage, which is like, again, around 10 minutes, it takes place in Queens. And Spidey, like, basically comes out of the... What was it? It looked like a basement or something. And then it's Spidey in the symbiote outfit. And it's intense and awesome. I thought Kraven looked amazing too. The depictions of most of the villains in this game series is magnifique. Like, that is one of the best Kravens I have seen. It's kind of just like when they showed Venom in the first trailer, like what, oh my god, like 2021, I think it was, how great he looked. Like, when you think Venom, and then you're like, what they did for the game, it's like one of the best best visual versions of Venom. Well, that's what they did here with Kraven the Hunter. But yeah, I'm very excited for that. If I were to take a wild and crazy guess, I would say October, November, just because that's when I think Microsoft will be putting out some exclusives right around that same time period. I think they'll want to compete. I don't know exactly what Microsoft is going to have ready, but I'm sure at their event in June, it's in June, right? It's not in May. I think it's like June 9th or June 10th or something. I'm sure they're going to announce some exclusives. I'm okay with that because that gives them some wiggle room. Because what we saw last year was really weird. A lot of, like 2 or 3 games got pushed back, and instead of being like massively pushed back, it was like a month or 2. Midnight Suns, I'm looking in your direction. Was supposed to come out, like, I believe the end of October, something like that. Maybe it was early October, whatever, but then ended up coming out the first week of December. And everyone was like, it's going to be pushed to next year. And same thing, I think, with, I think Gotham Knights, I don't think was pushed back that far when it got pushed back. But yeah, I still think there's a very good chance that Spider-Man 2 will make it this year. Obviously, we can't guarantee that, but right now it looks that way. And what they've shown looks phenomenal. What other games was everyone excited by? Metal Gear looks great. Yeah, Metal Gear, and then also calling it Metal Gear Snake Eater, not Metal Gear 3. So that lends credence because one of the insiders was claiming they went with this one because in the storyline, this is the first. So if that's the case, is it technically then Metal Gear Snake Eater, Metal Gear The Phantom Pain? Is that second then? Is it Phantom Pain and then is it like Peace Walker? Like, I'm trying to understand if they're looking to remake every Metal Gear game. And if you're starting with the first part, which I think is Snake Eater, that could be what they're doing. Although I don't know how the rights work with Son of the Patriots. Or Sons of the Patriots. Metal Gear 4. I have no idea how that works. Volcano High? Hello, Volcano, how are you? See, that's just not exciting for me, Mike, because it's been at like 3 Sony events. I'm more like, Volcano where? Although I really do like the title, Goodbye. I think it's Goodbye Volcano High, right? Metal Gear or Volcano High? I thought Volcano High was exclusive. Metal Gear's not, everybody. That was a surprise. And now it also lends credence to the insane rumor that they're going to remake Castlevania. Or at least give us a new one. But yeah, I was very excited with the PlayStation show. Truth be told, I had to go to the gym today, and the scheduling was such that I had to go to the gym and then basically watch the PlayStation stuff when I got home. So I wasn't even able to watch it live. But I'm very happy with what I've seen. Again, Dragon's Dogma looks really good. It just very much looks like a high-quality PlayStation 4 game. And I think that's probably because it was in development hell. That game's been rumored for years to be in development. So I think it'll be good. I know Dragon's Dogma was well loved. I thought it was pretty cool from what I played of it. But now, everybody, we are done talking about video games. Unless somebody in chat wants to say something, of course. But beyond that, we're going to be moving on. We're going to toy around a bit, everybody. We're going to toy around. And when I say a bit, this week I really mean a bit, as in very, very little. Only a couple truly exciting things. And first off, we have Megatron. Not just Megatron, everybody. Gamer Edition Megatron. War for Cybertron. I absolutely love the design. It's very hard to see the head. Making it big enough for you to see the detail in the head is going to would take too much time. I apologize. But it's a really good looking figure. Turns into a really cool looking tank. He retails at $34.99. He's larger than some of the other ones that came out. Like, there's an Optimus Prime in the first run. There's, oh my God, Bumblebee, and a character whose name escapes me, because, like, I don't know if they existed before the game came out, but looks awesome. But yeah, here's Megatron, everybody. Available for pre-order. Again, if you order him on Entertainment Earth, if you use code Hoarder, that does support me, so I appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you. But yeah, I think he looks phenomenal. I did order him as well, actually. I did order Megatron. Okay. Let's send him back to Cybertron. And next up, everybody, get ready for this. Kino. Ernie Reyes Jr. with Scooter and a number of other accessories, including a pizza, from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles to the movie. I thought this was pretty awesome. San Diego Comic-Con exclusive. So, might be hard to come by. The detail in the face is insane. Like, I'm like, holy cow. That looks just like him. But, like, yeah, I definitely had to show this because I was like, that's really cool. And as San Diego Comic-Con exclusives go, it's a really neat one. You know? And sometimes something like a San Diego Comic-Con exclusive is the only way you would get a character that isn't like, you know, one of the Turtles or Shredder. Or Toka or Razor. Those are like those super popular characters that have had action figures. I don't think they've ever done one of this character, Kino. I'm going to send him back to, I believe it was Ray's Pizza. It might have been Roy's Pizza, but it's close to that. It's close to that. So I wasn't kidding when I said we're going to toy around a little bit. We're already done toying around. That was it. There wasn't a lot that was like, oh, this is amazing. I need to show this to people. There was a pretty cool Miguel O'Hara Spider-Man 2099 Hot Toys figure. But it is weird that Hot Toys is doing non-realistic figures and then charging the price that you would pay for like the figures of actors where they actually had to sign off on visual rights. That's one of the reasons Hot Toys are so expensive, everybody. They actually get the rights to the actor's likeness. So if you're charging that same amount of money for a figure that's going to be all plastic, not actually like leather outfits or actually material outfits that are like handcrafted and stuff. Basically like a 12-inch Marvel's Legends with more detail. I just find that a little bit weird for the pricing. And how much, you were wondering how much would a Marvel's Legends be if it was 12 inches? Mondo figures are about 150 and come with like 3 or 4 head profiles and tons of accessories. So I would expect that over the usual cost of a Hot Toys figure, which is like $250 to $300. A number of them recently were in the $280 range. So if it was more like what Mondo's charging, I get it. I understand it because it's the size of a figure, the detail, all the accessories, you know. But now it is time for us to look into the future of comic books, all the way to 1 week from today. First up, everybody. World Tree number 2. A modern cyber noir about a database, a program, something that seems to be turning regular people into serial killers. And the main character's trying to find out why his brother killed all these people. The first issue was really good. A lot of questions were raised in it. I look forward to some answers in issue 2. This creepy young lady here seems to be really a fan of the serial killing. But we don't know exactly why. So hopefully we get a little bit more on her in this issue. But yeah, World Tree, if you're into like, you know, like murder mystery, cyber noir, I think it's pretty awesome so far. Again, it's only been 1 issue so far, but that was a really kind of monumental issue. It was really good. It was really good. Okay, so no, I'm gonna put this back on the World Wide Web. Okay, everybody. Next up we have Detective Comics 1072. Ram V has been one of my favorite recent Detective Comics writers and had this idea for Overture, a gothic vampire, not really vampire, but like, it's hard to explain exactly what you're dealing with in this story. But a gothic horror story, we'll say that, involving Batman. And it was meant to be like an opera. And it's been very cool. And it's sort of like the one arc happened, and we're continuing that theme, that gothic theme, through the second arc. We could already be at a third at this point. But it's been very good. And look at this amazing cover. This is a variant cover, and I just had to show everybody this. This looks so cool. If you notice, like, Batman is crying like tears of blood. And I think partially this might be like a takeoff on the Sacred Heart of Mary, but I'm not 100% certain. Because, like, underneath the bat symbols, what kind of looks... I don't think it's meant to be a heart. I'm not sure what that is. But I don't know. It's just the part of the vibe I got from it. But I like it. I think it's a really cool cover. And like I said, it's this and the Batman book, the main Batman book, which Chip Zdarsky is doing, are excellent. They're some of the best Batman stuff that has been out in a while. So I'll send this back to the Batcave. And now, the book that broke the internet. Finally coming out next Wednesday. I believe Marvel's Wednesdays. The Amazing Spider-Man 26. Okay. So, about this. I disagree with the person coming out and possibly maybe breaking NDA because they did it like 3 weeks early, damn near. and like basically just ruining this book. Marvel was on the back foot. They had to quickly get information out, and they had to spoil things themselves, basically. My issue is this. I would wait to read the issue, see how things are handled, and then very shortly thereafter, once the issue is out, Marvel will probably say, oh, the future of this character in these many characters shown on the screen. One of these characters here. My thought is they're looking to almost have a rebirth of the character, a return of the character, but they want to have their powers closer to what they are in the MCU. That's my thought. I don't think it was meant to be a racist thing. I'm hoping to God it wasn't meant to be a racist thing. It's a very great character. It's a character I like a lot. One of my favorite Avengers to play in Marvel's Avengers. So, yeah. I just, without having all the information and everything, I don't think I would have, basically spoiled it for everybody. I don't know. See, I haven't read the context of the issue, though, too. This person may have, possibly broke NDA, and then they, probably read the entire issue. Now, I don't know if they are a comic book store owner or who did this. I'm not even sure. It's just kind of unprecedented for 3 weeks before a book comes out for someone to give all the details and basically have it can be completely available to read. I think it's odd. I was very surprised, Mike, because I tried to look up lunar distribution today, and it was difficult because a search engine, all it wanted to do is give me that information that you just mentioned, that Image Comics is leaving Diamond and going to lunar distribution. If Marvel does that, Lunar's gone. I don't know if Image is large enough to wreck Lunar. I don't know. I mean, of course, I like Image, a very cool company. Nightclub, which I reviewed today, Image Comics. A lot of my favorite creators are at Image, or have done Image books at least. But yeah, like I said, until I actually read this issue, and yes, I will read this and review it for next week. Well, okay. None of the Marvel books showed up at my comic shop, and I think that's the same for a lot of shops in Wisconsin, possibly. Maybe other states too. I don't know. They're not, the books for today for Marvel aren't expected till next week now. So I don't know if that's going to affect books coming out next week. But if this is available, if I can get a copy, I will read Amazing Spider-Man 26. I did read number 25 and reviewed that, so you can check that out on a previous episode of Hoarder's Comic Flex if you want to. But yeah, I just probably would have handled things differently. But again, I haven't read it yet. I don't know how the story's handled. I don't know if it's done in a respectful way. I don't know what to say because I haven't read it. But I'm going to send this back to Queens, New York. Okay, everybody. So, we're nearly at the end of our show. Oh, you know what? Lilith doesn't have to be here. Lilith can take a little vacation. Okay. Bye-bye, Lilith. And everybody, we'll see Lilith next week when the early access of Diablo 4 happens. which in the Central Time Zone, I believe, is like 7 p.m. Central next Thursday. I'll be playing it Friday because I expect issues with servers to be kind of taken care of like 12 hours later, or at least somewhat better. And I'll be seeing Amazing Spider-Man Across the Universe. I know I screwed up that title completely, and I'm sorry. With actually Mike there. So I'll be seeing that next week. But that's next week, Thursday. There's still going to be an episode of this next week. Don't you worry. Don't you worry. Okay. Next up, we have our final comic book review of the week. City Boy! City Boy by Greg Pak. And it's a really neat concept. Basically, teenager, or yeah, I'd say he's about a teenager. I don't know if they give the age exactly. Wrong place at the wrong time. An experiment happens. Wait till you find out who's part of that experiment. I was floored. Sometimes you read a comic book and a final panel will floor you. That's what City Boy did. Anyway, the idea is that it was meant to connect people to cities. Like as if the city itself is a living, breathing organism. And City Boy has the ability to like speak to the city, to know things about it, to know its secrets, to like know its infrastructure. And I find that very interesting because it's a very odd power set, you know? When someone tells me that's a character's powers, the first thing I wonder is, how do they use them? And here it's really cool. At one point, he's able to look like at the street and see all the pipes and the sewer and everything underneath it. He's able to like make things almost appear out of nowhere. Like they're actually there, but they're hidden and obscured, and the city tells him where they are. So much so that a homeless person notices him and is like kind of taken back as to how he's able to do this stuff, but is still interested in him because it might mean that maybe, you know, he might get some food, some money or something like that. And City Boy, sure enough, goes and finds, I think, like a $10 or $20 bill in a covered area in the sewer where like kind of like grating. He didn't go into the sewer. And, you know, that money's used. He buys food for the nice guy. Then he runs afoul of a mob boss that basically is preying on the people that live on the streets of Metropolis. This takes place in Metropolis, not in Gotham. And we have flashbacks that show the insane experiment that connected him to the city. And we have like the scary characters that are like holding him hostage as these experiments continue. And then we have him lash out at this mob boss. It's like a number of like kind of flashes of things happening. And it's intense because he's like, they're like burst pipes. The cement is cracked and like broken. Like the guy is being held. Like it's really intense. And you're like, wow, this City Boy can cause a lot of havoc. You know, what's going to happen next? It looks like he's already kind of dealt with this mob boss guy. This, you know, this punk running the streets. If you take a look at the outfits that the people helping the scientists are wearing, they're inner gang. Okay? I usually don't like to spoil things, but I think you're seeing where this might be going. And Mannheim is one of the main people involved in this. And he gets a message saying, you need to find the boy. Where is he? And the message is from Darkseid. So, for some reason, of all the scary villains Of all the monstrous, frightening things in the DC universe, Darkseid has his sights set on City Boy. I gotta tell you, when you read a final page of a book and it ends like that, you really want to read issue 2. To people that don't know, Darkseid is like the equivalent of Thanos. He's someone you don't want to mess with. And if you're on his radar, it's very, very bad. And you have something he wants. And the power that City Boy has must be able to be somehow corrupted or co-opted by Darkseid. So yeah, it sounds pretty awesome. Okay, everybody. We had 2 reviews. We had Nightclub number 5 and City Boy number 1. We toyed around a bit. We talked about video games, including the awesome footage they had today of Marvel's Spider-Man 2. And yeah, I just want to thank everyone very much for watching. I greatly appreciate it. I'd like to thank Doom Squad Gaming and Doomkiller HD for again letting me borrow your channel. Thank you. You can catch me on my Twitch channel, twitch.tv/Hoardergamer. I'm currently finishing Star Wars Jedi Survivor. And while I will say some of the recent boss battles have been freaking intense, the game is awesome. The game is fantastic. So I'll be doing that. I'll be doing some Diablo 2. Let's see, Diablo 2 Resurrected. And then, of course, next week, Diablo 4. Probably Friday. Probably some Diablo 4 on Friday. And I believe a number of members of Doom Squad Gaming will be playing it in early access next weekend, I believe. So, again, thank you, everybody. And I hope you have a great night or day whenever you watch this, because it's at your leisure. But have a great one, and I'll see you later. Bye-bye.